Now, last month, the Goods and Services Council hiked the quantum of cess on mid-sized, large and SUV cars in the range of 2 to 7%. Now, this decision has not gone down well with automobile companies. We learned that the industry is considering sending a detailed note to the government urging them to reverse the hike on compensation cess. But that's just one of their demands. Joy, you've been tracking that story. What else are you picking up from your sources?
Well, Kritika, it's been over 100 days since the GST implementation, and the industry, while they have welcomed it, of course, since automobile industry is one of the key beneficiaries of the GST, they are, however, working on a detailed note, and which will be issued to the government shortly, where they will be requesting the government to make 4 or 5 key changes. So let's start with the compensation cess. Since you mentioned that, we know that in the middle of September, the government hiked compensation cess, as you said, between 2 and 7%. In the note, the industry is likely to urge the government to restore the original compensation cess rates, and they are also likely to urge the government to restrict compensation cess to just 3 category of vehicles. Currently, remember, the compensation cess is applicable on 5 category of vehicles. Apart from that, road tax has been a thorny issue. We saw soon after GST implementation, the state of Maharashtra increased the road tax rate. That has hurt many of the automobile companies here. The industry will be writing to the government, requesting the central government to urge the GST Council to ensure road tax gets subsumed under the ambit of GST. Apart from that, used cars has also been another concern area. We know that currently the GST rates can hover anywhere between 28 and 43% on the differential price between selling and buying. And here the industry is likely to urge the government to cap that GST rate at just 5%. Apart from that, on exporter vehicles, even though exporters are, of course, eligible for input tax credit, but the industry would urge the government to waive off the compensation cess, especially on the vehicles that are exported. Finally, on electric vehicles front, last week SIAM did tell us that the GST has sort of created an inverted duty structure, whereby while the GST rate on electric vehicles stands at just 12%, but the GST rate on many of the components, for instance, electric batteries, for instance, where the IGST rate can be as high as 18% or even 28% in some cases, there the industry would request the government to cap the GST rates on electric components for electric vehicles at 12%. This will be part of their budget wish list to the government. But staying